Jenna Rosher, cinematographer for Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry. Marcell Rev, cinematographer for Euphoria. Dana Gonzales, cinematographer for Fargo. Peter Deming, cinematographer for Good Lord Bird. Antonio Calvache, cinematographer for Queen Sugar. Hollis Meminger, cinematographer for Younger. Thank you guys all so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I want to start by asking, I guess, what is maybe a misconception about your job as cinematographers that you hear from people that you would love to debunk or reconsider, I guess, or anything like that? Jenna, I'd love to start with you, and then maybe we can go around the room.
Wow, to debunk. Well, that it's easy. I don't know, that you could just grab a camera, that there's some similarity between, I don't know, being a YouTuber and a documentary cinematographer. I don't know. I'm not, and that's no disrespect to anybody who's doing YouTube videos. I think there's a lot that goes into making documentaries as a cinematographer, and half of it has really to do with just personability and being, like I said before, kind of patient and compassionate. And so there's obviously the whole technical side, but there's a side of, that it's draining. You're fully immersing yourself into someone's life, and you're at the mercy of their life, and it's not about you at all. And it's more of an exercise in anthropology than anything else, as much as it is about the technical side of operating. And so I think that might be the biggest thing, that you just pick a camera and shoot. I think there's a little more that goes into that. There's a little more planning and focus in that. So
yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know exactly what we're doing, but I kind of enjoyed that in a way. It feels more simple from the outside, but I also enjoy that people think that it's easy. At least they think it's easy. I don't know. Maybe it makes it a little easier. I don't know. We're not in the foreground, and I really enjoy that part of this profession.
Well, my parents don't even really know what a cinematographer is, and that may be the first problem. I'm constantly talking. Every time I go to my parents' house, my dad's asking me. Like a year ago, he asked me if I was sharing a room. And I haven't shared on location. I haven't shared a room on location since 1985. But it's a weird, because someone asked that question, and it's, you can't even really answer it, right? Because it's so encompassing, and we all have our way of doing things, and we've all put our 2,000% in. I mean, Jenna, what you did on that show's so amazing. I mean, I really love that documentary so much, and just like, I love listening to you, because that was something that I don't even understand how you guys created that. The truthfulness of that. So I don't know what Jenna does. She's a cinematographer, and maybe she doesn't know what I do. So maybe my parents aren't so wrong.
People assume you have something to do with the camera. Are you the camera operator? I'm always surprised that when they find out you do the lighting, they're sort of like, oh, really? You do that too? So you operate the camera, and it's sort of, it like Dana was saying, it's so immersive, so, 100% of the time you're on set, you're working, really. And there aren't that many jobs in film production that's true. Sometimes people, cameras rolling, it's like, oh, I can go to crack service. You can't do that when you're shooting, and I like that part of it, because by the time you look up, it's time to go home, and you're just sort of in it.
I would say the big misconception I perceive often is people don't understand how much of a collaborative art filmmaking is, and how who is the author is very vague. How much of our work is my crew's work, how much I ought to, how much I delegate in my crew, how my work depends on the people that work for me. Also, how the directing is also a collaborative effort. How the decisions that people think everything is decided ahead of time, everything is planned. Really, it's not so much. It's somebody has an idea, and it doesn't matter if it's the director, or it's me, or who is it. It comes together. So I would say that it's like it's everybody adding to the final product.
And I have to agree with Dana. Like, my mom thought we were in like this closed room and we didn't speak to anybody. She's like, "Do you actually talk to people?" You know, like, well, I hope so. I mean, that's a big part of our job is to have communication with people. But you know, I also like think that people really don't understand it based on the technology that's out here right now. You know, I think that you have so many young people that are able to use their phones, and they're like, "What do you mean you have to light it? I just put my phone on and everything sort of corrects itself." So, you know, I think there's a big spectrum of what people say. I mean, I've been called a videographer, and someone thought I shot wedding videos, you know, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that they do some sort of lighting or something, and I think it's a great profession. But it's really hard each time to have to sort of explain it. And I think Antonio said it really well, is it's a big collaboration. You know, it involves so many different things that aren't just lighting. You know, it's also how the colors sort of fit together, costumes, and, you know, sometimes even just the lipstick. I mean, we have to go and say, "Hey, is it possible to sort of tone this down?" And you have to get yelled at by somebody who spends a lot of time doing hair and makeup. So yeah, I think it's a lot of things, you know. So I think the collaborative idea of sort of a visual storyteller, a visual author, is what I think that what we are and have to explain.
Yeah, I get. And the last one here, we can just to go around. I mean, all of you guys are creating these like really visually, just like beautiful art and like all these different things that is being consumed in a variety of different ways, right? Like people can watch it on their phones or on their laptops or on a TV, like Peter was saying, with like the wrong calibrations, or you know what I mean. So when you're creating these like images, how are you thinking about like how it's being consumed once it's out there, or do you not like maybe worry about how it is being consumed by people, I guess? And Peter, I'd love to start with you, since we kind of talked about that with like the coloring of the Lord Bird.
Well, I mean, I always assume people are looking at things in a theater, but of course, you know, when you're shooting for television, you know that's not true. The advantage of now is, you know, a lot of people have very high-end displays, so you know, hopefully they will be one of those people who can really see what you're doing and the detail of what you're doing. You know, I feel bad for people who watch things on their phone, because they're missing so much, not only of the imagery, but of the sound and, you know, just the whole experience. But I mean, I guess I'll always assume that there's a theater involved somewhere, whether it's at home or somewhere down the road, you know?
Yeah. Marcell, how about you?
Yeah, I think, I don't think we have a choice. We have to aim for the best device available. Yeah, but I think I might consider, if I'm shooting something for theater or television, you might, like, you know, you pick a different stock that has a little different grain structure. I think we can get away a little bigger grain in TV, and I don't know, and like choices of like wide shots and stuff like that, lens choices sometimes that I would choose a little different lens, maybe if I know that it's for TV or if it's for a movie. I don't know, but it also depends on the project. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, Jenna, how about you?
I mean, to add to what Marcell's saying about lensing, really the size of the lens, I call my favorite Verite prime is a 35 millimeter prime. You know, obviously not in full frame; it's a whole other story. But you know, what I do is a constant adapting to an environment. So, you know, I never know where people are going to walk or move, and there's available light that I'm constantly, you know, contending with. So I think in general, when I think about, it's a balance of knowing, can this moment live in a wider sort of frame, or is it so something's happening where I need to be closer and more intimate with my subject? So I try and find a balance between the two, you know. So that's knowing that it could live on the, in a theater or on a phone.
Yeah. Hollis, how do you think about this question, maybe?
It's really hard because, again, all these mediums just keep shifting. I mean, at some point it'll be something new. And I think the approach is just give them the best possible image you can, and hopefully at some point shooting a movie, like, again, what Marcell said is just picking what you're shooting for whatever medium, whether it be TV. I mean, everyone is consuming everything mobily. They're walking around watching a TV show or a movie. And I don't know if they are making a distinction whether something is good or bad. I think they just like it for whatever, except for the people that see the technical parts will watch it and make sure that our computers and screens are calibrated and all that stuff. So I don't know. I think people will make it work for their experience, but we just shoot for the stars and hope for the best.
Yeah. Antonio, you agree with that?
I totally agree with Hollis. It's like, it can be very frustrating, but just try to do the best. I'm not going to stop doing one shots because people are watching on iPhones the series. So focus on my work, not guess too much.
Not the device. Yeah. And Dana, last but not least, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not shooting for the iPhone for anybody ever, and but we're getting curveballs thrown at us too, because now it's like HDR and what that means, and I mean, my iPhone 12 is like an OLED HDR, what the hell? So that's this whole other thing, and in the film days, we just had to like test a new film stock, and now every 6 months it's a new thing, and keeping up to that, a little bit. And I don't know, I'm not chasing that too much. And even when we air a show on television, depending on the provider, the streamer, the grain structure is different. We add grain to our images sometimes, and one of them is super grainy. Other times you don't even see the grain. So we're just like, I don't know. Maybe you get to a place where you're just like, I'm gonna do my best for me, and then everybody else will like it.
Yeah, I think that's great. This is a great conversation. Thank you all so much. Jenna Rosher, cinematographer, Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, Marcell Rev, cinematographer for Euphoria, Dana Gonzales, cinematographer for Fargo, Peter Deming, cinematographer for The Good Lord Bird, Antonio Calvache, cinematographer for Queen Sugar, and Hollis Meminger, cinematographer for Younger. Thank you all so much. It was great hearing your thoughts on all of this. Really interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.